What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. So I got a package in the office, as I do every day, and I expect watches to show up because I'm in the watch industry, and that's kind of what I do. But I got this, and in the box, it kind of looks like a Power Ranger toy, like one of those transponders where it's like, it's morphin' time. This is a watch. Well, not this. Inside of it is a watch. And what's funny is that we just made an episode talking about a certain ceramic bezeled titanium cased diver being the Pelagos, and people were arguing about the 39 millimeter being the best one or the 42 millimeter being the best one. But regardless of which one of those you choose, I have an option that's a little bit bigger than the 42 millimeter. It's a 43 millimeter, but instead of spending over $4,000, you're going to spend under $300 for a titanium diver with a ceramic bezel. So the choice is yours. Okay, the choice is yours. And honestly, I'm not really going to compare this to Pelagos. I'm just saying we just spoke about a titanium diver, and I have one here. That's a lot less expensive and has a cool logo. Let's see if the camera will focus. It's morphin' time. Let's take a closer look. It is 12:28 p.m. Let's get down to business. All right, 43 millimeter case diameter, 48.9 millimeter lug to lug, 11.5 millimeters thick, a Miyota 9015 premium movement, again, automatic 42-hour power reserve with a 28,800 VPH sweep. Let's see, or you can choose a Ronda 708 quartz movement with a 60-month battery life and a moon phase calendar. Now, the interesting thing is that the case material, I believe, according to the spec sheet, is predicated on which movement you choose. So the automatics are going to have the titanium, and the quartz rondas are going to be 316L stainless steel with a DLC black coating. So that's, something to consider. Now on this watch, we have the titanium automatic. You're getting a sapphire crystal with a sapphire display case back, showing off that Miyota movement with, some decent decoration. It's not the most highly decorated movement, but it does have a black coated rotor with that Wolves of Odin logo. The sapphire crystal does have AR coating. You're getting a ceramic bi-directional rotating bezel. We're going to talk about that in a moment. What does bi-directional mean? Well, it means it goes both ways. We're going to talk about it. You're getting a 200 meter water resistance rating with a threaded crown. You're getting a pressure release valve, which is interesting on a 200 meter diver. And you're getting Super Luminova Lume that does have some faux patination. This is called Old Radium Super Luminova. So it looks pretty cool, honestly. I like faux patina. I understand a lot of people don't. I'm playing with this bi-directional bezel. Again, we're gonna talk about this. Overall, this watch feels very, very solid, and it looks good. And for just under $300, it's interesting. But before I speak any further, we got to jump into the pros and cons. So the pros would be titanium, right? Titanium is very light. It's technically stronger than stainless steel, but it's less scratch resistant. Let me see about this. They didn't mention if this... Oh, they did mention. Hold on. The titanium case does have a scratch-resistant coating. Very, very good, Wolves of Odin. Yeah, it's very nice. So that would be another pro. The next pro would be a really nice premium Miyota movement. Now, I was kind of a snob with Miyota movements until I learned more about these premium movements. You are getting a very nice, smooth sweep. You're getting a date complication. Speaking of this date complication, I do want to mention 6 o'clock. Very nice symmetrical placement, and a circular date window. Now, you'd think I'd add this to the cons. I actually really dig it in this case. It's really weird. For some reason on this case, the circular date window is not an eyesore, and they have it fully color matched. So I'm going to put this in the pros. Next pro would be great lume. Actually, I know faux patination, it's hit or miss. Super Luminova, very much hit or miss. Very nice lume, very bold indexes, very bold handset, glows very nicely, very easy to tell the time. So for under $300, this is definitely a contender, but it's not perfect. Now, notice how I said it's very easy to tell the time, but jumping into the cons, the signage, the inking, I should say, for the logo, the circular date, let me do this one more time. Sorry, guys, I have so much in my head trying to explain this like, because you guys aren't seeing the watch in person, and I think the camera and the lighting might be compensating a little bit. But in person, okay, the inking with that kind of slate color and the matte black dial, it's very, very understated, which could be a good thing, right? Because you're like, oh, I don't need a paragraph of text. I don't need a logo on my dial. I like it being kind of stealthy. And while I agree, it's a little bit too understated in person, okay? And the date complication is very, very understated, which again can be a good thing. You want it to kind of get lost on the dial when you're not looking for the date, but when you're looking for the date even, it's kind of difficult to read. So I guess you could say you could put it in pros and cons depending on how you feel about it. Like, yeah, I don't want the date window to stick out. Okay, well, you can't really see it very well, so I guess that would be a pro. Or, oh, I don't want to see the logo. I don't need to see the text on the dial. Well, you can't really see it, so I guess that would be a pro. But for someone who is looking for the date, while it's easy to tell time, it's not easy to read the date because of that very, very understated inking. So I'm putting it in the cons. Something in my eye. I'm not crying. I'm not crying. I have something in my eye. I have a girlfriend. She goes to a different school, and her dad owns all the McDonald's, and she's also a Victoria's Secret model. So it's morphin' time. Dragon Sword. Next con would be no drilled lugs. Okay, this is a sports watch, and while this does have an interesting kind of link here, attaching this kind of silicone end link, and then there's a metal thing, and then more silicone. I would like to change the strap. So drilled lugs, if it's a dive watch, it's kind of a must-have in my opinion. Next con would be the bi-directional bezel. I've teased you guys saying I'm going to talk about it. Well, we're talking about it right now. Bi-directional rotating bezels on a dive watch, if you're using this as a timer, I don't trust it, okay? Because it's very easy. Like when I'm testing the play on a bezel, yeah, there's a ton of play because technically it can just work its way away from the timing point. So yeah, I do not like bi-directional rotating bezels. That's just personal preference, but I'm the one reviewing the watch and I'm putting it as a con. And the final con would be in this one. I don't know if this is indicative of every one they produce, but in this one that they sent me, and again, I'm not keeping it, this is just for review, the crown is not very easy to rethread. It's a big bummer. We just saw this with that Seiko diver I reviewed. You can unthread it very easily, very difficult to thread in. So yeah, not the easiest to thread. That's got to be a con. But all in all, when we weigh the pros and cons against that price tag, this is another example of what small watchmakers, also known as microbrands, can produce, right? Hefty specs without the hefty price tag. Now, I would have liked to see drilled lugs, would have liked to see maybe some more visible inking on the date, and maybe a more functional bezel, like a unidirectional bezel. But for under $300, this is a definite solid option for someone looking for a functional titanium diver. Again, under $300, that's crazy. So guys, let me know what you think. Another Microbrand Monday in the books. Shout out to Wolves of Odin for sponsoring this episode. Gotta be honest with my reviews. So yeah, it's not perfect. It's not the worst though. It's a really solid titanium diver for a really, really reasonable price. So leave me that comment, guys. What do you think about this watch? Would you get one? Do you have something similar that you'd like to recommend? Leave me in the comments, or leave it in the comments, because I learn from you just as much as you learn from me. So please comment. Helps the episodes out. Helps me out. Thank you for hanging out with me on today's episode, guys. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon so you get notified every time I upload. And we upload Monday, Wednesday, Friday with a live stream every single Saturday. We do a podcast every single week over on Things That Keep Me Up at Night. We just sat down with the media production manager, over at Worn and Wound. We just sat down with someone who's a 9/11 conspiracy theorist, and it was very, very relevant because at the time of filming we're very near 9/11. So yeah, we wanted to respectfully put that out, and yeah, it's just very interesting content we have over there. But don't take my word for it. Listen to it for yourself and let me know what you think. And finally, if you want to check out the #1 place to find affordable vintage luxury watches handpicked by me, go to my personal shop, thetimetellershop.com. It's as easy as that. We have links in the description below, and shop around and support the channel. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember, I didn't invent time. Or just tell it. Yabba dabba dab. Yabba dabba doo.